We're into the Champions League knockout stages with Hamburg, and for the first time in this save, we're in the running for the club's first Bundesliga title in 40 plus years. By achieving a second place finish in the Champions League group stage, we are going to have a difficult road to the final as we'll match up against Liverpool, who have already won the competition twice in this save. This first team starting 11 is starting to look more and more like a Champions League side, and I can't stress enough how impressed I have been with the original Hamburg players that have made it this far in the career mode. However, more changes are on the way, and I think one of the big areas of improvement is at center defensive mid. Sands is an MLS Cup winner and has become a regular part of our Hamburg tactics. However, he hasn't been able to stay the course as far as his overall rating goes. I still think he can be a rotational player, and if he sees a big improvement to some of his other categories like dribbling, passing, and the works, maybe he could again find his place into the first team. But moreover, center defensive mid isn't exactly an area that we have a lot of squad depth. We do have some up and coming players like Yuka Konsta, who is currently out on loan at Sporting, but you can never really tell if these youth academy players will be able to reach the potential that they once had. A limited transfer budget means that we're going to look more for pre-contract signings, meaning that any transfers we make, the player will join the club next season. And here is the filter that I like to use from the global transfer network, basically making sure the contract is set to 0 to 1 years, looking for any type of player except their attributes need to be first team quality and world class, and of course being 23 or older, that way they're eligible for pre-contracts. This tactic is especially effective once you get a few seasons into your own save. This time around, we've got Gündogan, who has made the transfer from Manchester City to Arsenal. Of course, he's coming off what I think has been his best season of his entire career, scoring a significant amount of goals for City from the midfield. But of course, he has a storied history in the Bundesliga for clubs like Borussia Dortmund, as well as Nuremberg and Bochum. So I think to close out his career, a return to Germany in the Bundesliga would be a realistic storyline to pursue. One area of concern is that he might drop further in his rating. However, I'm hoping that in 6 months, he can still be a crucial player for our squad. As the series goes on, realism is becoming more and more difficult to maintain, and storylines are becoming more scarce. So I think I'll be implementing a couple of changes towards the career mode moving forward, updating the structure of the episodes so that we cover an entire season rather than the half a season format that we've done up to this point. If you have any feedback about this, feel free to leave a comment. And of course, if you are enjoying the save, make sure to like and subscribe. There's also the debate over which player we should be starting at striker. Winsheimer has been a regular player since season 1. We do have a youth academy player with potential to be special in Patrick Fuchs. When we do a side-by-side comparison, they have pretty similar attributes. Fuchs significantly pacier. Winsheimer had better shooting attributes. The 5-star weak foot of Winsheimer is also an underrated category in my opinion, but I think the biggest thing that sets the two apart is their goals contribution. Granted, Winsheimer has significantly more appearances, but even if you look at the goals to game ratio, Winsheimer's numbers are better. So for now, we'll keep Winsheimer as our number 9, but I'm going to continue giving Fuchs plenty of play time so that he can continue his development and hopefully take over in a few seasons' time. We will see a couple of departures from the club in order to generate some additional funds. Mort Hire did a little bit of everything in this save, and I think he will be a welcome addition over at AZ. Anzi Suhonen, kind of a fan favorite, but unfortunately, his overall rating just isn't good enough. Only a couple of loan deals for the January transfer window. Frank heading on over to Leuven, and then Neubauer over to SD Eibar. We might start to see some repeats soon for scouting networks, but for this episode, we'll of course be setting up a scouting network in Germany as well as in Cameroon, looking for a technically gifted player. The motivation towards this is that I was looking through all of Hamburg's former youth academy players, and Choupo-Moting actually played here for a little bit of time. Now, of course, over at FC Bayern and still scoring goals. Granted, he might not get as many in-game minutes as some strikers, but I think his goal-to-game ratio is quite good. But anyways, the focus of this episode, of course, will be on Champions League and the knockout stages. We're starting against Liverpool, and as we take a look at the starting 11, you're going to notice a couple of changes. The first leg ended in a 1-1 draw, meaning that we'll have to travel to Anfield and pick up a win, but the biggest change is that James Sands has suffered an injury. He'll be out for 7 weeks, and we'll need to rotate some players in the midfield. Aguirre has done a little bit of everything. We initially planned to sign him as a left back. He ended up playing a center mid and left winger role. Now he needs to fill in at center defensive mid, and looking at his attributes, I think he'll have no problem with that. Quite pacey, and his defensive attributes have been on the rise as of late. The game shining a light on this upcoming battle in the midfield, Aguirre versus Renato Sanchez. This should be a good 90 minutes ahead. Opening up the highlights with Kitzel playing it over the top through ball to Winsheimer. Would have gone with a volleyed effort myself, but still good that we can test out this Liverpool defense early on. Kamavinga setting up Sadio Mane. Good block from Vuskovic. Does that sort of thing on a consistent basis and still has been one of the best signings we've made. Mo Salah called offside as we try to open up the scoring. 22 minutes in, Kitzel with the short pass to Winsheimer. Quick play to set up Aguirre. No idea why he's in this sort of position as a holding center defensive mid, but I'm not going to complain too much. Always finds himself in front of goal, and the significance of that goal cannot be understated because it basically impacted the momentum of the rest of the match. Liverpool, now they need to catch up, and that means they are going to pull players forward, and that should open up some counterattacks. As we do win back possession, it's Aguirre again who sparked the whole thing. This time it's an easy pass across. I was intending for the goal to be from Yatta, but Krause is still able to get his foot on it and make things 2 for us on the day, as we are able to open up some substitutions. Fuchs being brought on for Winsheimer. See if he can maybe get a third goal for us. But it's Krause making the run. Has Fuchs in the middle. We'll play him into space, and he's going to go 1-on-1 with Alisson. Bounces around a couple of times. We're even able to hang on to possession, but Liverpool's defense able to get that one cleared as we sprint by the goalkeeper. Goal line clearance. And this match could have very easily been 4 or 5-0. We were the dominant team, but I am happy that we were able to get a third goal. It is Çalhanoğlu who continues to score in Champions League. I believe that's 7 goals from 7 Champions League appearances, putting up some unprecedented numbers. But Liverpool just were not there on the day. They have been one of the consistently best sides in this career mode. So this is a statement victory as we try to carry this momentum into the quarterfinals. Our matchups probably will not be getting any easier. Real Madrid in the quarters. Here is the team, and as you can see, stamina is proving to be a problem. Just a lot of fixture congestion once you have to factor in the Bundesliga as well as Champions League. Combine that with the fact we lost our home leg 2-0, we certainly had our work cut out for us. Apparently Benzema is still in this save, has not retired yet, but he is not a part of Real Madrid's starting 11, so we may even see him as a substitute at some point in this match. It's absolutely crucial that we play high tempo from the start, but unfortunately constant pressure is not a viable tactic with our current state of stamina, and it's a significant blow just 3 minutes into the match. We don't see this very often, but an immediate substitution required for Çalhanoğlu. One of our best talents going down, and a young prospect in race being brought on. Defensive mistake as Wagnerman is unable to get things cleared. That's about as easy of a goal you can ask for Leon Bailey to open up the scoring, putting us down 3-0 on aggregate. The one advantage that we have is there is still plenty of time to get back into this. And of course, it had to be Race to open up the scoring for us. The number 13, 31 minutes into the match, able to beat Courtois on his far post. Perhaps a glimmer of hope, especially if we can carry some of that momentum into the second half. And Winsheimer on his right foot is going to put an improbable goal into the back of the net. Suddenly, we're just 1 down. But Real Madrid, their pressure was relentless, and it's Mason Mount who has apparently made the transfer. Able to hit this one first time. We were trying our best to get the effort cleared and find the outlet, but Winsheimer still proven to make this a match, this time on his left foot. I was talking about earlier how important the 5-star weak foot can be at times, and this is exactly why. The chances of another striker scoring this is slim to none. With just 15 minutes left to go, we're trying to win back possession. Our players are tired, and Real Madrid truly made the most of that. As again, it's Leon Bailey, who, in my opinion, was their man of the match. Able to make things 5 for them on aggregate. They weren't done there. This time it's Mount played through. Muller just unable to close down the space and collect the ball. It is a 6-3 scoreline in the end. If you weren't watching the match, you would think that Real Madrid absolutely dominated, but we were very close. Had we been able to bring things level, maybe we'd see a different scoreline. Although our Champions League hopes have come to an end, there's still a lot to play for in the Bundesliga. Just 2 match days left to go, and taking a look at the standings, a third versus fourth fixture ahead against Frankfurt. They are just 1 point behind us. And apparently our cumulative performances have been good enough to get the Borussia Dortmund offer. Definitely a weird one because they are on a path to win the Bundesliga title. There's no way I'm backing out on this squad. We're trying to bring a Champions League and hopefully a Bundesliga title home to Hamburg. But it's an interesting Frankfurt team we'll need to get through. A Premier League inspired squad as they have Granit Xhaka, who to be fair is an ex-Bundesliga player, captaining the team, but we're at the point where this Hamburg squad is just as good as everyone in the Bundesliga. We may be missing some players due to injury, but that did not seem to hinder our performance too much. Winsheimer to score his first goal just 5 minutes into the match. Note that I say his first goal because there will be more goals to follow. Aguirre to play through Kitzel, very similar to our first effort. This time, it's going to be a header to the far post. We've doubled our score line just 10 minutes in, and Winsheimer on track to the perfect hat trick. It's going to be set up here. Krause to Winsheimer on his left, the 5-star weak foot, and a perfect hat trick in just 20 minutes time. One of the better performances I've seen in this save, and I genuinely can't explain why Winsheimer has performed so well throughout this career mode. I think that's part of the fun of these longer term saves where you're playing a number of matches. You just have players that outperform their rating and potential, and even though on paper they don't have the best attributes, they just perform on a consistent basis, and you can't ask for much more. I think the same could be said about Aguirre. Here, Josh Sands, coming back from his injury, is able to beat the keeper and make things 4 for us. A pretty good goal to score and some good dribbling to set it up. Winsheimer is going to add an assist to his 3 goals as he finds Kitzel on the pass across. It was just too easy for us, and I am noticing this a lot, especially once you go a few goals up. Really wasn't paying too much attention to the match. I was just trying to have some fun. And when you're having fun, you score some spectacular goals like this chip shot for Winsheimer to get his 4th. This was a statement performance against Frankfurt, establishing that there's no way we're going to be pushed outside the top 4. Moving forward, there are a few things I'd like to clean up, particularly defensive mistakes and avoidable goals like this one coming up. João Pedro, an easy pass across to Mendes, but that all started from a mistake out of the back. There's no excuse for it, but fortunately it didn't impact the result on this given day, as I want to say this was the first hat trick that we scored in this career mode. With top 4 secured, we will get into our final fixture of the season against Wolfsburg, a familiar opponent, and there is still a slim chance for us to push up into the top 2. If Leverkusen drop points, which to be fair, they're playing against Eintracht Frankfurt, we could overtake them because we have a better goal differential. But first we'll need to get the winning result. Wolfsburg continued to give us trouble because they've made some great transfers and they have that defensive shape established, especially with Castells between the sticks. Well, it was defensive mistakes at the end of the last match, but that seemed to carry forward into this one. Unable to find Yatza on the outlet, and it's Jonathan David to open up the scoring for Wolfsburg just 26 minutes in to this fixture, giving them the first half lead. Perhaps we'll look to sign players similar to David that have made the storyline transfer to the Bundesliga, and as one of the top performers now in the league, I think we might be able to pull off some of those moves. Anyways, it is Krause to make things level just before the halftime break. Another player whose future definitely isn't certain, but I'm hoping he can stay with us as long as we keep up our performances in Champions League and the Bundesliga. Moving into the second half, Winsheimer will find Krause again. And the thing about him is that he is involved in so many of our chances created, whether that be on the goals or assist category. I think if we lost him, we would not be the same team, and we certainly wouldn't have the same structure. We're pushing and trying to find this late winner. 83 minutes into the match, Yatza gets his effort cleared. It falls to Vuskovic, and I thought, why not have a go? It ends up hitting the crossbar. I think Castells probably had it covered, to be fair, but imagine that's the way that we went out into the lead. Kitzel with a late effort to try to find the winner, and we're even applying some pressure on Castells, but he's able to clear this one outside of the Wolfsburg defensive box. And our final match of the Bundesliga season will end in a draw. A pretty good performance from both teams, but we'll see where that leaves us in terms of our Bundesliga standings as we check in for the end of season 4 recap. When I look at the big picture, I am quite happy with the squad's development this season. We finished 3rd in the Bundesliga, which means that we're again going to be involved in Champions League football next year. A couple of surprises as Bayern will be missing out on Champions League. And as we take a look at the relegation zone, Werder Bremen being involved in the promotion playoff final, Schalke and Hannover being sent down to Bundesliga 2. And speaking of Bundesliga 2, it's Augsburg and Dusseldorf that will see promotion. Our rival St. Pauli might finally join us in the top flight, but unfortunately, Werder Bremen winning things 3-2 on aggregate, so it's unlikely we're going to see another derby in Season 5. But as we recap the top goal scorers in the Bundesliga, I am going to be paying close attention to these numbers as we head into next season. Maybe looking to sign players from Stuttgart, for example, who somewhat underachieved in the Bundesliga, roughly mid-table, but oddly, the French striker could be a potential signing. Two of our players in the top 3 of assists, both Krause and Kitzel, approaching the double digits mark. And for clean sheets, it was a good first season for Muller, at least here at Hamburg. Has that Bundesliga experience, and as we continue to progress our defenders and their overall rating, I imagine his numbers will easily go up. We did see that second round exit in the DFB Pokal. Wasn't a huge focus for us since we've won that competition a couple of times, but it was Frankfurt that ultimately won the final over Leverkusen. Champions League was exciting, and this sort of opposition is really the only challenge to us at this point in the save as far as gameplay goes. Exiting in the quarterfinals against Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid winning the final over Fiorentina. Fair play to them to go that far in the competition, but it was Real Sociedad to defeat Sevilla on penalties. So Spain seemed to be dominating European football, as in Conference League, Valencia getting the win over Roma. I have been updating Krause's development plans behind the scenes, and that will see another big jump up in his rating, very close to the 90 overall mark, which will be a big achievement for us. 19 goals for him across 43 appearances, quite a few players actually in the double digits, and Çalhanoğlu was a huge signing for us. I mean, that last maybe third of the season saw him injured, but it's nice that we have a couple of supporting cast players. For the assist category, again, it's Krause, with Kitzel still keeping his place in the starting 11 and still getting double digits for his numbers. Despite dropping to a 79 rating, I was still quite happy with the Alexander free agent signing at the beginning of the year. He added that Champions League experience that we desperately needed and didn't cost us a lot of funds. I still think he can be a player to come off the bench next year. And as far as our youth academy scouting networks went, Cameroon brought back a couple of good players. Sharif Kane, a versatile central midfielder, already with the overall of 69, will be sent out on loan and hopefully reach the 80 mark towards the end of next season. Also, Sergina Dabo, who I have position changed to a striker, as he has already pretty good pace and shooting attributes at an overall of 62. I think the big question heading into Season 5 is whether we're going to see a big jump up for our finances, as we haven't had a lot of backing from the board, but I think with consistent Champions League results, we might finally have the funds at our disposal. As always, a thanks to channel members for supporting the content on YouTube, and for all of you watching. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to drop a like, subscribe if you're new, and until next time, this has been Flick. I'll be talking to y'all again soon.